What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got our Week 8 fantasy running back starts and sits for every single matchup. So make sure to tune in. If you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. And in the meantime, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us as the week progresses. And check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. Sign up for our free newsletter to get access to exclusive content. All the details in the description. But in the meantime, let's get right into it. Before getting into our breakdowns, I want to give you guys a quick word from our sponsors at Overlay Fantasy Sports, who are taking DFS to a whole nother level. And I specifically want to highlight their matchup shop function, which is an absolute blast. In fact, we've been using it since the start of the NFL season because, let's face it, betting on the same old Team A versus Team B can get a little bit stale, a little bit boring. Well, that's not even close to being the case with the matchup shop of Overlay Fantasy, as it allows you to bet on individual player matchups, and it's super simple. Just pick whichever player you think will have the higher fantasy performance. And just like a regular bet would work, check out the spreads, do your research, and then win some money. You can bet on pretty much any single sport that you want, whether it's NFL, golf, MLB, etc. All those options are there. And again, super simple. Pretty much for any single NFL game coming up, you've got a bunch of different matchups that are always updated and added to. So if it's something as simple as just putting a single submission, you can do that. But guess what? If you want to get a parlay going and double up some of those winnings, you can do that as well. So take advantage of this. All of that homework you're doing for your fantasy lineups, let's have that translate to some big time winnings for your wallet as well. So do yourself a favor and check out Overlay Fantasy's matchup shop now. Our first game features the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. And when it comes to running backs, you want to start both of these guys. First, Todd Gurley of the Atlanta Falcons. And regardless whether he wants to or doesn't want to get in the end zone, he is a good play here because we have said it before, the Achilles heel of this Panthers defense is up front and them stopping the run in particular. Todd Gurley has done a good job of getting those touchdowns these last couple of weeks, and I see him as a high-end RB2 on the week. Since the Falcons let go of Dan Quinn, Gurley and that offense have looked better. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair versus the Panthers. Then for Carolina, Mike Davis. This could very well be the last time you can start Mike Davis as an RB1 because the big news from Carolina was the return of Christian McCaffrey to practice, but this is a short turnaround for Carolina. So honestly, I don't anticipate McCaffrey suiting up for this game. I think the Panthers head coaches will play it safe, which means Mike Davis is someone that you want to start. Yes, he struggled these last 2 weeks, but this is a matchup. The last time these two teams played, he absolutely exploded. I think he's going to have another good outing, and I actually see him as a preferred option over Todd Gurley. Next, Vikings at the Packers. Pretty simple here. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. Both these guys, a little bit nicked up as of late. The Vikings obviously didn't play this last week, but the week previous, Dalvin Cook did not suit up, but now with that extra time, I anticipate he will be facing the Green Bay Packers. And then Aaron Jones, he was a game time decision this last week, ultimately did not suit up, but again, with this other week of time, I expect him to be available. And both these guys, in my opinion, are top 5 running back plays. Obviously, if either one is injured, then you fire up the running back backups, which would be Alexander Mattison or Jamal Williams. Again, neither one of those guys would have as high ceilings, but hopefully you've got those insurance policies. However, I don't think it'll come to that, so you can fire up the 2 starters here. Afterwards, Titans at the Bengals. You're going to start Derrick Henry. Obviously, the Bengals defense, not all that imposing. I expect a big dose of Derrick Henry. To me, he's going to be a borderline top 5 running back on the week, especially in standard formats. Then for Cincinnati, the early assumption is that Joe Mixon might not play again this week because afterwards the Bengals are on a bye week, so no need to get cute with Joe Mixon, especially since he's a little bit banged up. So if that's the case, then you fire up Giovanni Bernard. And I said it last week. I actually think Bernard, when he's the starting running back, has a higher ceiling than does Joe Mixon because of what he can do as a pass catcher. We saw it this last week versus the Browns. Again, right now, my assumption is that Giovanni Bernard will get another start because Joe Mixon will be sitting. However, if Mixon does suit up, you start him, and Bernard, unfortunately, then becomes a sit. Following this, we've got the Jets at the Chiefs, and this is the Le'Veon Bell revenge game. You're going to start pretty much every single Kansas City running back here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell. Yes, I realize that the usage for Le'Veon Bell wasn't as high as we would have hoped this last week, but it will only continue to go up, and I expect him to get a lot of opportunities versus his former team here. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's still getting usage as well. Again, obviously, it's not as high as it was prior to Le'Veon Bell joining, but he's still going to get around 55%, hopefully, optimistically, probably 60% of those rushing opportunities, but either way, he's making the most of it. And especially versus this Jets defense, you feel confident in the rushing attack of the Chiefs. And then for the Jets, you're sitting Frank Gore and Pirine as well. This is just a tough outing for them defensively. I anticipate them being down relatively quickly, which will mean abandoning the rushing attack. I don't think they'll hang in this matchup like it did versus the Bills. So for that reason, I'm fading both of these running backs. Next, we've got the Colts at the Lions. And the Colts coming off the bye week, I like Jonathan Taylor here versus this Lions defense. I think he's a fine play, probably a high-end RB2 in standard scoring. And then DeAndre Swift. It's gotten to the point where he has become that primary running back for the Detroit Lions about halfway through the season, and he's getting those opportunities as a rusher. Adrian Peterson is still getting some of those, but when you combine the fact that DeAndre Swift is a great pass catcher as well, then he gets the nod here. And due to that reason, Adrian Peterson a sit, Nyheim Hines a sit. Peterson would have been a standard type of scoring play to begin with, and then Hines much more PPR suited, but either way, the ceiling for both these guys not nearly as high as it would warrant for us to start them. Before continuing, I want to tell you guys a little bit about a new partner of ours in Thrive Fantasy, which is an absolutely awesome daily fantasy sports app that specializes in player props. And the great thing about Thrive Fantasy is that it's super simple to use, as they've eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top tier athletes in a respective sport. Literally, all you have to do is find a contest and join it. From there, just select the props you like and rack up the most points to win a share of the prize pool. And it's not just the NFL. There's NBA, MLB, PGA. Literally, you think it, Thrive Fantasy has it. In fact, Thrive has awarded over $1.5 million in prizes since launching in 2018 and has $50,000 guaranteed in prizes weekly. So sign up today, and when you use promo code ALLDAY on sign up, you receive an instant match bonus up to $50. You can download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store, Play Store, or by visiting their website, thrivefantasy.com. So stop waiting, sign up today, use promo code ALLDAY, and start propping up today. Next, we've got the Steelers at the Ravens, and here in terms of running backs, only James Conner is the person that we would start because, look, otherwise, for the Ravens, Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, it's a running back by committee. We've said it before, where your best running back is your quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Mark Ingram is nicked up, so whether he plays or doesn't play, it doesn't really change my opinion all that much. James Conner has the best opportunity here. Yes, it's a tough defense in the Ravens, so he's probably a high to mid-level RB2 on the week, but either way, the best running back option here. Moving on, we've got the Rams at the Dolphins. I'll start Darrell Henderson versus this Dolphins defense, but again, with guys like Malcolm Brown and Cam Akers, regardless of the usage, the ceiling for Darrell Henderson isn't as high as necessarily a Myles Gaskin, because even though he probably has a tougher matchup and we don't know what the offense will look like with now Tua being the starting quarterback, we know that Gaskin will get the volume. So I actually feel more comfortable in Gaskin as probably a mid-level RB2, where I'd say Darrell Henderson a low-end RB2. Next, Patriots at the Bills. I don't want to start a single running back here. The Patriots have been struggling incredibly offensively, and Damian Harris, James White, I don't want any part of that. I think this Bills defense will do a decent job of stopping these guys. And then for Buffalo, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, both are now available, and we've gotten back to the point where it is a running back by committee, so I am fading both of these guys. Following this, Raiders at Browns will start Josh Jacobs. You have to. And then Kareem Hunt as well. Nick Chubb continues to remain out, so Kareem Hunt continues to be an RB1. In my eyes, Kareem Hunt is the better play here. I think he's more versatile and has the better matchup. Then Chargers at Broncos. Tentatively, you see a lot of asterisks here. Justin Jackson, Melvin Gordon starts for Jackson. It'll depend on how he rebounds, from being a little bit nicked up last week. Ultimately, he played in week 7, but will that be the case in week 8? Probably. And then Melvin Gordon, again, tentatively here because Philip Lindsay concussion this last week. If he plays, though, I'd rather sit him. And then the remainder here, Josh Kelly, Philip Lindsay. I just don't think they will get enough usage. If I had to pick one, I'd rather start Philip Lindsay over Josh Kelly, however. Then Saints at Bears. Only running back I want to start here is Alvin Kamara. Yes, it's a tough defense, so I don't think that Kamara is necessarily a top 5 running back on the week, but regardless, he is still at worst a low-end RB1. Then for the Bears, I don't like David Montgomery in this matchup. I'm going to sit him. I think the Saints offense can put up some decent points, and for that reason, Montgomery might be abandoned, sooner rather than later, and right now, the rushing yardage just isn't there. It's his pass catching that's kind of salvaging his outings. So Montgomery now more a PPR guy. And honestly, again, I would fade him here. And then same with Latavius Murray. Tough matchup, and he is obviously the backup, so I am fading him. Then 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. This one is tough. No Chris Carson, so likely it'll be the Carlos Hyde show for Seattle. Obviously, the ceiling isn't as high. I'd probably call him a low-end RB2. Then for the 49ers, man, injuries continue to pile up at the running back position. So that leaves JaMychal Hasty and Jerick McKinnon. But again, it'll probably be a running back by committee. No clear-cut guy with Raheem Mostert. This last week, McKinnon getting quote-unquote rest. So we don't know what's going to happen here. And you would assume that versus Seattle, that the 49ers would focus more so on the passing attack. I am sitting all the 49er running backs. Then Cowboys at Eagles. Ezekiel Elliott will start, but man, since the injury to Dak Prescott, the status of Ezekiel Elliott continues to plummet, and he's probably a high-end RB2 on the week here. We have to see what happens with the quarterback situation in Dallas. But yeah, the arrow continues to point down for Zeke, something I did not think I would be saying this season. Then for Philadelphia, if Miles Sanders plays, then you fire him up as a great top 10 option. But if he does sit, which we think is probably the case, then Boston Scott again gets a very nice matchup and could be an RB1 that outproduces Ezekiel Elliott. Then Bucks at Giants. We'll start Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette because of the friendly matchup. We prefer Ronald Jones, but again, this is a running back by committee type of situation. We're more so starting these guys because we think it'll be a high-scoring affair. I think both of them are probably low-end RB2s. Then for the Giants, Devonta Freeman or Wayne Gallman. Whoever plays, Freeman got a little bit nicked up last week, so Gallman got some of those opportunities, but this is an awful matchup. I would be sitting both of these guys. So with that, we wrap up our Week 8 running back starts and sits. And as always, let us hear it in the comment section. Did you agree, disagree, along with any other start or sit questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Also, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us and shooting us your questions there. We'll make sure to answer them. And check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. Sign up for our free newsletter, get access to exclusive content, all the details in the description. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.